In this situation, because of the unequal exchange and the balance of payment problems, Africa is trapped in debt. We call it debt trap. You know what a trap is? A trap. To trap, you know. To trap. You can explain to them then. Trap. A debt trap. We are trapped in debt. We can get out. Trap. No. Good. You understand? Yeah. So the debt trap. Trap somebody. So Africa is caught in a debt trap or debt crisis. It is not just debt, it's a debt crisis. It's a crisis because you can't pay. No. If you are in debt and you can service the debt, go for money from the bank. Every month, your employer will pay some money to the bank. You are not in debt crisis. But if the interest you have to pay every month is $100 and your salary every month is $80, then you're in a debt crisis. It's not sustainable. You can't sustain it. So the first thing is that Africa is caught in a debt trap, in a debt crisis. But the second, and all these things, first the debt trap, I'm going to tell you the other thing. We will see how all of them combine, in addition to some domestic problems, to make integration very difficult. The second thing is that because Africa is producing raw materials, and because the Europeans made each Africa produce one agricultural commodity. Ghana, we were noted for cocoa. Gambia, peanuts or granules. Kenya, coffee, and so on. African economies did not become diversified. No diversification. We call it in political economy, mono means single, right? Single. Monocrop economies. African economies are monocrop economies. So the first direct problem has been the debt trap. The second is the emergence of monocrop economies. And monocrop economies are very, very weak. The economies that are strong are the ones that are diversified. We have cocoa and we have some industries and so on. When we have single crops, then it becomes something dangerous. Are you okay?
Yeah, I was saying that capers is a monocrop.
A monocrop, yeah.
Because we have
On tourism, yes. And Ghana is cocoa. Kenya is coffee. I was in Kenya, the farmers. And the problem is that because you are exporting, Ghana is exporting raw cocoa beans today to Europe. It's quite perishable. And so the Europeans will tell you how much they want to buy it. They determine the price for you. If you say you don't want that price, okay, have it. In 6 weeks, it's going to get rotten. So we are forced to sell them. Now, because Ghana is not diversifying, Ghana cannot add value to the cocoa to make it chocolate. If you can make it chocolate, it can be there for a long time. But you are selling the beans, cocoa beans, to Europe. And that is part of the problem. So the economy is in debt. It's not diversified. It's a monocrop economy. And trade because of these two, the economies of Africa are financially and technologically dependent on Europe. Dependency on Europe. both financial and technological dependence on Europe. And then finally, the continent, already very diverse in terms of ethnicity and tribes, the continent is now divided into three major linguistic regions: the Anglophone, the Francophone, and the Lusophone. These are the three major divisions. And that creates some very serious implications. It has serious implications for continental, because not just the languages, but also the historical link between African countries and these three European powers. Now the question is, for countries that are dependent, debt-trapped, and divided like this, how easy is it going to be for them to integrate their economies, or even to integrate their politics? Is it possible for them to just simply establish preferential trade areas where each country within the continent will be given some preferential treatment to bring their goods, so that we lower tariffs for them? Or can we really establish a custom union where we have single custom rules all over the continent? Or is it possible for us to have a common market on the continent where barriers are removed, free movement of goods and services, of capital and labor, and so on? Or is it possible for us to have a real economic union, which will lead further to political union? And that's the problem. So the next thing we'll be looking at, we'll try to see how the classifications, how we classify different levels of integration, and try and see what is possible for Africa and what is not possible for the continent. Is it possible? For yesterday, in a discussion with my friend here, you mentioned that Europe started as only 6 nations, and then as it expanded, others were added, others joined, and today they have a common market, they have a single currency, financial and monetary union, and they are working towards political union because we have European-wide institutions emerging. We have the European Court, European Parliament, and all that. European human rights, commissions and so on. So the institutions have been developed. Now, the problem with Africa is that the structure of the economies are such that Africans are producing for North America and Europe. So the volume of trade is between Africa and the global North, and not among themselves. I doubt if there is any trade at all between Ghana and Cape Verde.